Today, we gather to celebrate a milestone, 20 years of National Collaboration Center for Indigenous Health. We recognize and honor the work that uplifts the voices, wisdom, and wellness of the Indigenous people of our lands. The NCCIH commitment to community-driven, culturally grounded research aligns with our own ways of knowing, sharing, and caring for generations to come. May we continue to hold strong the blessings of the Creator for our land, our stories, our families.
My tradition, when you bring the drum into the room, it's an invitation for our ancestors to come in and to celebrate with us and to protect who it is that we are and protect our knowledge and our way of life. So I thank the drummers as well. What is knowledge? How do we use knowledge? And how do we transfer knowledge is so important so that the subject that we are transferring is clearly articulated and understood in the eyes and ears of the beholder. Many times our knowledge has been stolen. It hasn't been translated properly. And through the creation of the center, it provides policymakers, it provides the partners with knowledge that comes directly from the academic, from Indigenous communities. And for that, I really applaud the work that the staff has been doing, particularly Dr. Margot Greenwood, now the Senator. Congratulations, Senator. And of course, the gift of sharing, ensuring that everybody is properly provided for in terms of knowledge in the mind, body, spirit, and soul. And of course, love. Ensuring that we love one another, loving humankind, and loving the earth and nature are all the teachings. And I believe that the Institute has really embraced these principles in drafting its documents to educate not only policymakers, but the public in general. So also, I would like to acknowledge Margot Greenwood. As I said, she put her sweat and tears in creating this 20 years ago. Margot, in our tradition, I'd like to blanket you. So the blanket symbolizes a cloak for protection.
I wanted to support First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people across this country. I wanted to do that by lifting up their voices, because in universities, our voices were not heard often, and I wanted to use this center to lift them up, and we did that. We all did that. And the third thing is, I wanted First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people to be proud and to know that this center belonged to them. It wasn't to me or anybody else, it was theirs. And I hope we reflected that. I know we've reflected that. And there was, and it's all of us who did it. It wasn't just me, wasn't just a team. It was everybody who wrote for us, who supported us, who came to dialogue circles, who came to conferences. They did it. You did it. Everybody did it. So thank you again so much for this honor. Hi.
It was also with great pleasure to welcome Dr. Terry Aldridge to NCCIH. She was on the committee, but decided that she would put her name in for the lead. So Dr. Aldridge, you're in good company. You have us old people that have been around for over 20 years that could provide knowledge and wisdom because now we're wise. But I'd like to blanket you as well on behalf of NCCIH to make sure that your mind, your spirit, your body, your heart is protected in doing this work, as well as the other work that God has bestowed you.
I'm somebody who grew up with lived and living experience. I grew up in a position where I had very little privilege. And of course, now I'm in a position where I carry a lot of privilege and power. And I feel like it's very important for me to always recognize that and to look for ways to reduce power imbalances and to use the both unearned and earned power and privilege I have to make the healthcare system more equitable, to ensure that there's justice for those who need it. And so when I think about a vision, and especially in a time where there's more division, more hate, I would say, and more targeting of some of our communities with our various intersectionalities, then my commitment is that our focus on our work will be, we're going to serve our communities that are the most remote, that are the most oppressed, the ones that are the least safe first. And we're going to ensure that they're wrapped in blankets and protection first, because when we serve them first, it actually benefits all of us.
So now we have some online greetings from the NCCIH friends across Canada.
NCCIH was an act of bringing Indigenous people, communities, and nations home, journeying us on to a collective lodge. Mamawikami. Why the NCCIH is important. It's focused on Kaskaitamasuan, proving the ability for breaking barriers down and for forging ahead. This art was accomplished by founders like Senator Margot Greenwood, grounders like Albert Marshall, Don Fiddler, Dr. Tom Dignan, and many other advisory committee members. The founders like Donna Atkinson and Sarah DeLiu and other staff worked tirelessly to produce useful health and well-being documents to communicate findings for dispensation far and wide. This 20-year celebration is a time for triumphant outcries of victory, esaguea, over poverties and pathologies of all kinds that plague Indigenous peoples, communities, and nations.
We at the Canadian Indigenous Nurses Association celebrate, congratulate, and honor and respect the work that NCCIH has done for all of the First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We are truly glad that appreciate the opportunity to have worked with the Collaborating Center over the past few years and to have looked at what we are able to contribute in an authentic, meaningful, and engaging way.
You've always been a bright light in my book, but it's even more important that good things, if we are encountering the roadblocks here and obstacles, it's really critical for the folks in Canada to offer some hope and to do good and do well, because we're going to be drawing on that as well, and it is a mutual exchange.
Je veux quand même féliciter le centre de collaboration. J'ai eu l'occasion de rencontrer des gens extraordinaires. Malheureusement, il y en a qui nous ont quittés pour le monde des esprits, mais Ça a toujours été un lieu d'apprentissage, un lieu d'échange, où est-ce que c'est un peu de se nourrir l'esprit, je crois. Et je leur souhaite vraiment une belle continuité et beaucoup, beaucoup d'autres années à venir pour justement devenir cette source d'inspiration pour les générations à venir. Donc, félicitations, congratulations.
We talk about the Collaborating Center as an entity here at UMBC, but really what it is, it's a collection of dedicated people that saw the light, saw the opportunity, had a vision, not unlike how UMBC came to be, to really do something meaningful, powerful, and impactful. So I just want to send my heartfelt congratulations to all those that have been involved over the 20 years of the Collaborating Center, and really looking forward to seeing what happens next.
I think NCCIH is important because Indigenous peoples' lives have been framed through lenses that are not our own for so long. So, how our health is understood, how well-being is understood, how our needs and realities are understood has for so long been determined by through frameworks that are introduced by others. And so I think at the national level and at the local level, having Indigenous perspectives on our health determinants, the priorities, the needs, the approaches, I think is an essential part of our self-determination and our ability to shift and transform, the lenses that have been introduced by others. So I think that a center like NCCIH really powerfully, provides a space for all of us who are concerned about our health and well-being, about our future, the current state of our communities and families to come together and to kind of put our minds together and to take up those issues in a collective way.
Et ce travail-là, l'important, c'est justement sa mission qu'il a de travailler principalement avec les peuples autochtones, d'influencer aussi les politiques publiques, d'influencer aussi le travail des gouvernements, de leur faire mieux comprendre les réalités, mais aussi toute la diversité qui peut exister entre nos peuples et aussi entre les différents territoires.
Let's look at NCCIH in 500 years. What will that look like? And what we're saying is we've laid the path, we've opened up the gates and laid the foundation for the generations that we won't be able to see, but we know that we have left them this enormous amount of content, work, publications, research that will benefit them in being able to address Indigenous health and address Indigenous value sets.
NCCIH works with such an incredible network of researchers, of medical professionals, service providers, community leaders, locally and nationally and internationally. So having more opportunity to grow those networks and also especially to come together and hear and listen to each other, I think is really key, because the more we, so often as Indigenous scholars, researchers, educators, we're often responding externally to kind of societal changes, government priorities, that kind of thing. And so really having opportunities to turn towards each other, to speak to each other, learn from each other. I think that's part of what I'm excited about, I guess, looking forward.
We really need to be supporting each other's and pulling each other's along, and not view our own folks as competition, because the world we live in, I know here in the US, is a very competitive environment. And inherently, it's easy for universities, programs who are competing for stature, for resources, for faculty, as well as other institutions, that we kind of, that some of that, if we're not careful, can divide us versus unite us. And if we're clear on our purpose, then I think we can kind of see through some of that. And I just, we all need to just, we need to be kind to each other's. We need to be supportive of each other's. We need to be honest with each other's. And the more we can do that, I think the faster and the more success we'll have.
To advise the next generation of public health researchers, practitioners, and decision makers, there is a need to be mindful of continuing to be influencers. There are at least 4 quadrants to consider going forward. 1, always seeing something of worth by using our imagination. Wapatikewen. 2, recognizing something old is so essential, it is new again. Kayasisitikewen. And it's better known as tradition, in English that is. 3, being mindful of innovation, Uskewin, homegrown and transformative activities or positions. Last but not least, keeping miupayuan, good turns from changing fortunes, front and center.
You know, sometimes we get caught up in the day-to-day of what we're doing. And I've been a firm believer always that, you know, we all have our own unique strengths, but collectively and collaboratively, we can do things that individually we'd not be able to do. And I think the Collaborating Center, which has been demonstrated over the past 20 years, has shown that ability to be that convener, that pushing of boundaries to really make sure that the research goes beyond the 4 walls of the academy and out in the community. So I challenge the next generation to continue to learn.
Thank you for the participation in celebrating the 20th anniversary of the National Collaborating Center of Indigenous Health. As we go forward in a new light of understanding of how we can support our Aboriginal communities, our precious elders, our children. May the participants take what is needed, bringing the knowledge received back to their communities. And may you leave with inspiration, excitement, understanding, patience, and enthusiasm, ready to embark on a new journey, enhancing what NCCIH does best. May your journey home with peace and tranquility, and may tomorrow be a good day. Creator, hear our prayers. Creator, hear our prayers. All my relations. Thank you.